They always say a dog's bark is just noise until it isn't. I remember the morning that lesson burned itself into my bones. The way the old barn stood in the Arkansas heat, half collapsed, looking like it had finally given up on being anything but a memory. That's what we thought, anyway. Just another abandoned building. Nothing worth sweating over but Zeus, my canine partner. He knew better. He planted himself right there in the doorway and let out a bark that cut through the silence like a buzzsaw, sharp, insistent, impossible to ignore. You know what I mean? That kind of bark that says something's wrong, something's alive. Nobody wanted to listen at first. The place had been empty for ages, grass growing through the floorboards, fence posts leaning like old drunks, the only footprints raccoons or the odd trespasser. I was ready to call it, head back to the car, maybe grab breakfast before the next shift. But Zeus, he had that look in his eyes, and when you work with a dog like him for half a decade, you learn there are barks for fun and barks for blood. This wasn't about drugs or chasing a fugitive. It was deeper, darker, like the air itself was holding its breath. Backup was already on the way by the time Zeus nearly pulled me off my feet. The barn door groaned open, dust swirled in golden sunlight, and I could smell damp hay, old rust and something else. Something sour, wrong, almost hidden. Zeus darted to the far corner, started digging at a patch of wood that looked like someone's botched repair job. It was subtle, but my heart was racing. What the hell did you find, boy? We ripped up the boards, hands shaking, dirt caking our arms. The ground gave way to hollow sounds, then a plywood sheet nailed tight. When I pried it up, four pairs of eyes stared up at me, wide and terrified kids, filthy, silent, half hidden in the dark. For a split second, the world stopped spinning. Even Zeus stopped barking. I just stood there, trying to make sense of it. The oldest girl, maybe 10, clutched the little ones close, and when I knelt down, she whispered so quietly I almost missed it. We prayed someone would hear. Yeah, that happened. Turns out those kids had been missing for weeks, dragged across county lines, hidden underground in a makeshift prison nobody should ever have to see. The man who'd locked them there, he'd stopped coming by 2 weeks back. No food, no light but slivers between floorboards. If not for Zeus, they'd have died down there, no question. Sometimes I think about that bark, the way it ripped through the morning, through my own doubts. Maybe he heard something I couldn't, some desperate heartbeat echoing up through the floor, or maybe he just knew, the way only a good dog does. The aftermath turned Pine Hollow upside down. Media vans, yellow tape, reporters shouting over each other. Headlines everywhere. K9 saves for children from hell. Zeus didn't care about any of that. He just wanted his chew toy and, maybe, a cheeseburger from Buddy's Diner, extra bacon, no bun. The kid at the window looked at me like I was nuts, but handed over an extra milk bone anyway. Guess we all need a hero sometimes. If you're wondering how the story ends, I'll tell you. It doesn't. Not really. The kids needed care, therapy, soft places to land. Zeus got belly rubs, peanut butter from Linda at the front desk, and a badge for his harness. But something changed in both of us. He barked less. I slept less. Nights were heavy, the kind of heavy you carry in your chest. Some wounds don't heal, not the way you hope. There was a twist in all this. Mason, the quietest of the bunch, no records, no family, just this haunted look that would split you in two. He clung to Zeus like a lifeline, wouldn't let anyone near him but that dog. Social services tried, God bless him, but the boy didn't speak, barely ate, just watched Zeus with those big, wary eyes. After a week, a caseworker pulled me aside, asked if I'd take Mason in just for a while, until they figured something else out. I wanted to say no, told her I was a cop, worked crazy hours, but she just smiled. He trusts your dog. That's more than he gives anyone else. So, I said yes. Let me back up a sec. Parenting wasn't in my plans, especially not for a kid with a heart stitched together by nightmares. But Zeus made it look easy. He'd curl up at the foot of Mason's bed, keep watch through the dark. When Mason flinched at loud noises or thunder, Zeus was there, pressing close until the shaking stopped. Sometimes I wondered who was saving who. There was this night, late, when Mason left a note on the kitchen table. Scrawled in a shaky hand, "Thank you for letting me stay. I remember the dark place. I remember the bark." That's when I knew it would be okay. I sat there, reading it over and over, feeling the weight of what we'd built, a home out of nothing but second chances and one very good dog. The town healed, sort of. The barn was torn down, replaced by a small memorial bench, some sunflowers, and a bronze statue of Zeus, paw raised, ears alert. The plaque read, "For those who bark when others stay silent." I used to hate speeches, but at the dedication I told them what I'd learned. Dogs don't lie. They don't get distracted. Maybe we should all listen more like they do. The investigation dragged on, but it became clear the man who took those kids had acted alone, planned it down to the bolts in the floor. His truck was found in the woods, body slumped behind the wheel, bled out from a crash. No closure, just more questions. But in a way, it didn't matter anymore. What mattered was the living, not the dead. As for Mason, he slowly started to trust again. The school let Zeus come along for drop-off, therapy vest and all. Kids stared, some wanted to pet him, and for the first time, Mason didn't shrink away. He even started drawing pictures of himself, Zeus, and me, the stick figures wobbly but hopeful. Sometimes, he'd ask about the barn, if the other kids were okay. I'd say, yeah, they're safe. You're safe, too. Not a lie. Not anymore. There's a moment that stands out the day Mason called me coach. Not dad, not officer, just coach. And you know, that felt right. We're all just trying to guide someone through the dark, hoping they find their way. One Saturday, Mason wanted to visit the other rescued kids. We drove to Little Rock, brought Zeus, and there was no drama, no tear, just hugs, quiet laughs, a picture Sienna drew of the four of them with Zeus in the middle. "You saved us," she said. Mason shook his head, pointed at Zeus. He did. That's the truth. Pine Hollow isn't perfect, never was, never will be. But it's softer now. People look out for each other, talk more, listen harder. Every year, the town gathers at the Bark Foundation. We named the new community center after that bark that saved 4 lives and lights candles around Zeus's statue. Kids tell stories, parents cry, and we all remember that some heroes don't wear badges or capes. Sometimes they just bark when it matters most. Mason still has nightmares. I do too, some nights. But these days, the fear is quieter, replaced by laughter, small victories, pancakes in the morning, and a dog who never stops listening. You can heal from just about anything if you've got the right people or the right dog by your side. So here's what I want to ask you. If you've stayed with me this long, what does heroism look like to you? Is it a badge, a bark, or just showing up when nobody else will? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. And if you believe stories like this matter, share them, talk about them, subscribe to Heroes for Animals because sometimes the loudest bark comes from the quietest heart. Until next time.